The Licked Hand. This is a story from 1956. Hannah lived with her entire family in a small town in Chicago. She was 12 years old and had a pet dog named Tom. She is very fond of him. Hannah takes Tom everywhere and spends all her time with him. On this day, Hannah's parents were preparing to go on a trip.
Hannah, you really should come with us. We can't just leave you here alone.
Oh, Mom, I'm not a child. I can take care of myself and this house. You go without me, and don't worry. Plus, Tom is also with me. We'll be fine.
It's all right, Rosie. Hannah, you can stay. We'll be back by tomorrow morning. It's only a matter of one night. Let's go. Hannah, you have to lock all the windows and doors, okay?
Okay, Daddy.
Hannah's mom and dad walk away. Hannah comfortably sits on the couch and turns on the radio. Keep listening to Horror Stories with Peter.
Oh, wow. This is my favorite program, but Mom and Dad never let me listen. But today, I can do anything I want. So, I will listen to horror stories today.
Hannah turns up the sound of the radio, and the program begins. Today's story is a bit interesting because it is said that it is based on a true incident. This is the story of Halsett Street in our city of Chicago.
Wow, that's my street. Halsett Street means I will hear the story of our place today. I am very much excited.
This incident is from 20 years ago. A common man named Walter lived on Halsett Street. He had no family, so he adopted a lot of dogs. Many of his distant relatives had their eye on Walter's property. Some would even go to his house and try to kill him so they could inherit his house. But Walter had a pure heart. His loyal dogs would always save him. One day, a distant cousin named Mark came to his house. Mark wished to gain Walter's property, and one night Mark went to Walter's room and added poison to his water. Walter drank the water and died in his sleep. Mark took over all the property, but Walter's loyal dogs did not leave. They surrounded the new homeowner and ate him. For years, the vicious beasts kept everyone away from that house. Until, one by one, the dogs each starved, laid down by their master's dead body, and died with him. Hannah is scared to hear the story.
Wow, that's a scary story. I'd better go close all the windows and doors like Dad said. Mom and Dad will be home in the morning anyway.
Hannah closes all the windows and lays down on the bed to sleep. But she is afraid. She wraps herself in her blanket and covers her head. Then the flower pot falls from the table on her side table. Hannah screams.
Tom!
Tom arrives and sits on the side of the bed.
Please don't go anywhere leaving me here, Tom. I am very scared.
Hannah hangs her hand from the bed and Tom licks her hand, and Hannah falls asleep. At midnight, Hannah's eyes open completely, and it looks like something has bitten her hand.
Tom, what have you done? Why have you bitten me?
Hannah looks into the room, but Tom is not there, and there is a sound of crying. Hannah arrives in the hall looking for him.
Where are you, Tom? Come out! What happened, my boy?
Hannah hears the crying coming from inside an empty room. Hannah opens the door and sees Tom hanging upside down in the air, and his eyes are bloody red. And on the wall is written, "We can lick too." Hannah gets scared and starts running away. Suddenly, Tom becomes a terrible monster. His sharp teeth, red eyes, and blood dripping down from his mouth was scary. It was the ghostly souls that came inside. Hannah is running away, and Tom came running from behind, taking her leg in his mouth and pulls her backwards.
Leave me! Let me go!
This animal is loyal to you right now. This is himself.
Tom bites Hannah's leg fiercely, and her leg bleeds. She limps away. Tom destroys the entire house.
Leave me, Tom! Please let me go! You are my faithful Tom! Recognize me!
Tom starts staring at her. Hannah calms herself, puts her trembling hand on his head and pets him. Tom slowly starts remembering Hannah. But then the ghosts take over Tom again. Tom's face turns red with anger. His pointed teeth become large. He is enraged to kill Hannah. He attacks Hannah and injures her badly. Hannah faints. The next morning, Hannah's mom and dad are knocking on the door of the house for quite a while, but only the sound of barking comes from inside. Hannah, open the door, sweetie. Hannah!
What happened, honey? It's so late. Why isn't Hannah opening the door? And this Tom is also barking. I'm very nervous.
Wait, I will break down the door. They enter, and both scream. Hannah's corpse is lying on the floor, and Tom is circling her and barking continuously.
My baby girl! What happened to my baby girl? Who killed her?
Both start crying, and they're not able to handle the shock that Hannah is no longer alive. Rosie and Hannah are crying near Hannah's body. Then Tom comes to their back and starts snarling at Rosie and the father. Turn and look back in horror and are surprised to see Tom. Then Tom starts to slowly move towards them.
What has happened to Tom? Why is he watching us like this?
They both look at Tom. Tom, sit down. Tom, what has happened to you? I said sit down. Didn't you hear me, Tom? Tom leaps at them. And they both start screaming, and all the birds fly away, and all the dogs in the city can be heard howling. Hannah's parents also leave the world like Hannah. The end.